Hi guys, John, Jim, and David here today with petroleumservicecompany.com, and we're here to talk to you about another application we found for our great product, undercoating in a can, and that's on RVs. So Jimmy, being an RV owner, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've noticed on your camper?
Sure, no problem, John. Thanks for having me, guys. And behind us here, this is my 2014 Georgetown Class A motorhome, manufactured by Forest River. And one of the telling things that I found, and I bought this in 2015 brand new, and one of the telling things was the corrosion protection underneath, which kind of stood out to me. And so when we look at a model like this, so you take currently at about 9,000 miles on, which isn't much. I mean, it's a very young vehicle. When you get underneath, you take a vehicle like this, the chassis itself is made by Ford. And then the Forest River will put the motorhome coach on top of it, essentially. It was very telling to see when I got under there, even a year in, that the substrates between the metal frame of the Ford chassis and the Forest River chassis matching up, corrosion was completely different. And so that's really us being in selling these type of products. I was like, wow, that stood out to me. I said, get the experts involved here and kind of look at it. And we need to pass this on to the customers because it might be an issue that they're having and they might want to look at this as well. And that kind of brings us to today.
That's pretty telling. So first of all, Jimmy, I think one of the first things you notice, and a lot of our customers may not know, and even RV owners, is there's a lot of players in this when it comes to putting an RV together. So you have a Ford building a frame, and you have Forest River building the actual body. So
right, it might be a different engine manufacturer, different transmission manufacturer. They're upfitters, and
right.
That's what they're referred to as upfitters. So they'll take that chassis, they'll mount it to it. So it's nice to see the difference between the two, like we talk about, you know, with the different cars, and you put cars side by side and say, wow, look at this same year, this one's all rusted out, this one isn't. Yeah, but it could have been driven in different conditions, anything. So you don't really know the variables that were in the play. Under here, you know exactly the variables because they're both in the same exact weather, they're both in the same exact driving conditions. And when you see the difference between the two metal surfaces and how the protection was for one versus the other, it's quite telling.
All right, so why don't you tell us a little bit, like when you first noticed this issue, where were you at? What
right, and right, so and all the guys know, go out, you know, you come out to your campsites and you level up and you get a little suspension out there and you kind of see underneath, and you know, we want to all look and go around camping, and right in the wheel wells it stood out right away. And this was in the first year of camping, and I was like, wow. So I actually started getting some undercoating in a can and just spraying around the wheel wells and doing the touch-up stuff, because more of cosmetically making it look good. I don't want my brand new RV looking bad. And now 2 years into it, now I climbed up underneath, I kind of get, and now you really see the corrosion that's going on the coach frame itself. Right. And something needs to be done about it. And I think other people who are in a similar situation, whether it be travel trailers, whether it be Class A motorhomes, I think they need to be getting underneath and checking their frames and see that they have the same type of issues.
And that kind of makes sense, I guess, like you said, if you're out at the campground, you know, you're not gonna have air compressors or anything like that, but you could have a aerosol
the convenience
can
of an aerosol can, right? And that's why it is great for the motorhome. You know, we sell this in all different sizes, bulk and all that stuff for large fleets. But for the RVer, this is perfect. They buy a case of cans, you keep them in the back of your RV, and then anytime you're out there, you're leveled up, you got your suspension, you can climb underneath there, easy spray, touch up, and it's an easy out to go ahead and provide years of great protection.
All right, and David, why don't you explain to our folks out there where they should actually be looking for this corrosion, some points of interest where corrosion is going to take place, because as we said, some people might not even realize that we have two different companies coming together here to build these RVs, so maybe some of the points where they're actually coming together and corrosion exists.
Well, as Jim said, I mean, the Ford chassis is pretty identifiable because it's corrosion free. And I believe when you get under here, you're going to see that the tubular construction that the coach has been built upon is probably not going to have as robust a coating, and it's going to show a lot of corrosion. And that's where you want to concentrate. Not so much in the body of it, but where it's connected to the chassis. I mean, that's where your big concern is going to be, is let's keep that free of corrosion. So look for the places where Forest River or any other coach manufacturer has had to attach the coach to the chassis, and then the tubular construction that's holding the coach together.
All right, you can almost see that square framing under there when we were under, and you can see where the rust is a lot more prevalent on that square tubing versus what we can see on the actual frame of, you know, from Ford.
As an RVer, what we're always looking to improve too is sound deadening. You know, to try to quiet down, you're driving down the road, especially Class A, you want to try, you know, got TVs going, all that, you want to try to keep it. So I'm hoping this will also provide some sound deadening abilities. When I look at that frame, I say, how does it not? But you probably know better.
Right, well, I think if you undercoated the entire motor coach, it would definitely give you some sound deadening. But sticking with just the steel that's exposed and showing corrosion, the step area is an area that typically would show a lot of corrosion. that's going to give you some sound dampening properties too.
And that's probably a pretty important area of the motorhome to point out is the steps. I mean, you're getting a lot of traffic there, and most people probably don't realize the rust that's actually taking place underneath. So unless you actually get under there and take a look back at the steps, that's how you're going to identify
And
the
they got a lot of
issue there.
mechanical components there in the
Absolutely.
steps too, and they do fail. That is what, you know, RVers will know. You know, you have problems with your steps, the motors go bad, things like. If you can eliminate that corrosion issues down underneath, that's a big help to all the RVers.
I just think that there's anything that's a steel substrate that isn't part of the chassis, you need to take a look at. There's a good chance that that coating isn't as robust as a chassis frame, and you may have an opportunity to save yourself some difficulty by using undercoating in a can and stopping the corrosion in its tracks.
All right, guys, well, first of all, we want to thank Jim for bringing down his RV today and actually pointing out this problem that exists that, you know, no doubt a lot of us didn't know. And as always, undercoating in a can is available exclusively at petroleumservicecompany.com and can be found under the coating section on our left-hand side navigation. Thanks for watching, guys.